They're all just people. This is what my wife said to me. I was on my way to speak to some senior leadership over at Camp Pendleton the other day. And I asked her to pray for me and to pray for my audience because I wanted to make sure and honor this opportunity that I had because Master Sergeant Nick Rennell had set it up for me. And my wife just looked at me and it was just so simple. I was like, I was wanting to get reverent and pray with her and do all this stuff. And she just looked at me and she's like, they're just people. And it brought me back to center because the thing that my pops would talk to me about all the time was that there's only one business in the world and one business only, and that's the people business. And if you take the people out of the business, then you have no business at all. And it almost calmed my body, my mind, my spirit. And I realized when I walked into the door, I was not speaking to leaders. I was speaking to people who happened to lead. And I got a chance to be able to know every single one of them as they came in. All of them were a little bit nervous, and they're leaders. They're doing incredible things. But when I say they were kind of nervous, they were kind of to themselves a little bit. And I got a chance to meet Dylan and Amir and Mike and Gil, Jesus, Eric, and I already knew Nick, but it was more than that. I got a chance to be able to know about Mike, and he was he's an incredible personal trainer. About Amir, he wanted to create technology to be able to help people to, whether it be live longer or basically be superhuman. Got to know Dylan. He likes to play music, and Gil, he's an incredible leader. Comes from Riverside. A little bit of a kind of rougher upbringing, but wants to make sure that all of what he referred to as his Marines were better working without him than they were working with him. You had Jesus that, when I asked and when I kind of probed in and asked him, he talked about wanting to be an attorney. And, but he almost talked about it as if, there was the possibility, but he didn't really know. And then, we had Eric, and Eric is just an incredible light. And he talked about architecture and building and real estate and all those things. And, and then I had Nick, who was a facilitator, a connector, and he wanted to connect people and all these things. And I just let him know about their unfair advantages that they had in life. But before I got into that, it was great because I already knew the people. And once I knew the people, I knew their names, it became specific. I knew things about them. It changed things. And, it made it very, very simple. Now, simple is not easy, but simple is the shortest route to the desired result. And my pops used to always talk about this as far as that, building a business was very simple. You just built the people and then allowed the people to build the business. Well, how do we build people? First of all, we know their name, and then we speak life into them. We use their name, and then we talk about specific things that are about them that lift them up, because human beings only need really two things as long as we've ever been. Humans haven't changed, and that's to feel seen and to feel heard. And when they feel both of those, they feel loved. And when they feel loved, they perform at their peak. And when they perform at their peak, your business grows. And so as I sat down with all those guys, they no longer to me were leaders. They were Dylan, Amir, Mike, Gil, Jesus, Eric, Nick, that happened to lead at a very, very, very high level. And it was incredible because the simplicity of my wife's words were so profound. And as I sat down today, I realized that, God was talking to me about, the wisdom is like that. It's very, very simple, although it's very overlooked. It's very, very simple. It's unparalleled, but it's overlooked. It has crazy amounts of benefit. But again, most of the time, it's overlooked. In Proverbs 27, it actually lists out all the amazing things that wisdom will bring you. But it goes back to the fact that wisdom is simple, it's light, and it always works, although it's often overlooked. So why don't we get this party started?
Yeah, and this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launch pad flights. Yeah, this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turned small rooms into launchpad flights. We begun surfing waves too low, made our own rules everywhere we go. Held tight to the truth that our parents declared. Anything is possible, the love stayed there. Now Rob's daughter ballin' on the end scene, Olay scene. Will's kids live dreams we never could have seen. This the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turned small rooms into launchpad flights.
We're going to be spending some more time over at Camp Pendleton and spending time with the leadership. And Nick is setting this up. Nick Rennell, Master Sergeant Nick Rennell with the U.S. Marine Corps. And I want to tell you how much I appreciate you. But I want to tell Dylan, yeah, you're incredible, man. Your musical career that you talked about, I just want to speak life into that. Amir, the technology side, it's just getting around the right people and understanding and realizing. I could see you, man. I mean, I saw that lion and that fire inside your eyes when you started to talk about what it is that you loved. Mike, you already know. I mean, you're one of the best trainers. He's working over at Oceanside High School. It's a rival of Carlsbad High, and that's where my kids go. But he's working with the wrestlers there, and he said that he's not a wrestler, although he brings the discipline and accountability and perseverance of the Marine Corps into the wrestling program there at Oceanside High. And he said, and I asked him, I was like, is there any kid that would work with you or train with you that wouldn't be better and stronger when they're done? And he just looked at me almost like it was a silly question. He was like, of course. You know, I look at Gil. Gil's an absolute incredible leader, and he's going to be, and I spoke life into him and told him that he's going to be in the C-suite of a tech company and or something to the likes. But this guy is absolutely, I mean, just an incredible human being. Jesus, you need to get in law school right away. And as quickly as you can get into law school, do that. We've got quite a few friends in the Vibe community that are attorneys, and to connect you with them. But do that as soon as possible, man. I mean, to have your pedigree, to have your perseverance, to have your mindset coming out of the Marines and going into law. I don't know any law firm that wouldn't want you to be around. And then Eric Berry. You're a light, dude. You went to shake my hand, and then you actually hugged me, and you brought it in, even though you're a Green Bay Packers fan. I forgive you for that. And, well, I forgive you for that one, but I can't forgive you for the Indianapolis Colts, although you have become a recovering Indianapolis Colts fan, and I want to tell you you're incredible. But the real estate side, the development, the architecture, all those things, it's just about getting around the right people and talking with the right people and getting connected with them, and not for just the quick gain, but just put yourself around it. And I tell you, you're going to do amazing, amazing things. Madison, Wisconsin is going to be very fortunate for having Eric Berry there, and any architectural firm, any real estate firm, any development firm that gets the opportunity to work with you, Eric, is going to be incredible. And Nick, I can't speak enough about you, man. Your follow through, your follow up. I know it was we talked about, we're going to get into some specifics as far as the nuts and bolts. We started off with our leadership summit there for the Marine Corps, the leadership there, and we did more of an overview, like a flyover, and we wanted to kind of expand their brain a little bit, and then we're going to go into the nuts and bolts of it as we move forward with it. But I also too, I want you guys to understand, all of you that were there with me, I want you to understand the simplicity of the things. Like I talked about when we were there, about the unfair advantages that each and every one of you have, that the advantages. And I've been talking to my friends about this, business owners. And I said, who wouldn't want a retired Marine that will wake up on time, show up to work, not because they feel like it or because they have to, that they will respect rank. And I said that if you are an E5 and an E7 tells you to do something, you do it. Why? Because you respect the rank. You respect the position. And you respect the position, and you protect the position because you know at some point you might be in that position. And there's so many people that have the tendency to look at a position and they don't like the person that's in the position, so they go after it, but they don't realize that they're destroying and injuring the position itself. And when you do that, when you get in that position will be injured, and people will look at you in that way. So just respect the position. And this is something that in the Marine Corps, it's not a nice to do, it's a have to do. And to have a retired Marine or a Marine of 4 years or whatever it is to come into your company, I tell you, that would be absolutely phenomenal. There are so many people that want to hire in because of the discipline that's already there, but it's an unfair advantage that you have that most of you guys don't realize that you have. And I want to encourage you. And as I work with the U.S. Armed Forces more, it's just an absolute honor for me because my pops was in the military. He was in the Air Force for 14 years. I grew up as a military brat, and I have unfair advantages because of that. And I told all the guys that I actually use all those unfair advantages, knowing how to deal with different cultures, because we grew up around different types of people. We grew up with different types of belief systems, people that didn't look like us. And we came together, and my friends, all of them come from such a diverse background. But you make friends. And, you know, my buddy Gil, he said, this all sounds good, but what about as a Marine if we have to move every 2 to 3 years, whatever it is? And I said, let's just stop for a second and we could look at it a little bit different. We could look at that and say, if we have to move every 2 or 3 years, you're just collecting friends all over the world, and now you don't have to do the marketing. And so I just want to encourage you as you go along, and I want to encourage you in the simplicity of these things. My wife got me back on that when I realized that the senior leadership, which was Dylan and Amir and Mike and Gil and Jesus and Eric and Nick, all of them were just people. And when you put a name to it, they were people who led. They weren't leaders with these names. They were people who led. And once I got to know them, then we were able to move the needle. And it's as simple as that. And wisdom is as simple as that. But I tell you, there's so many benefits in simplicity and so many benefits in the things that are often overlooked. And a lot of times wisdom, which is the right use of knowledge, is overlooked. And in Proverbs 27, it just lists out all the features and benefits of it and the things that if you test out, and the things that we're going to list out right now, I ask you, just use one of them today. Just one of them. Pick out one of them, use it, and then bring back the benefits. Hit me with a comment on the podcast. Shoot me a text. Whatever it is, do that. Or, you know what you could do is you can come and meet all those guys at the Vibe Room. All of those 7 that I talked about are going to be at the Vibe Room, and you can come and meet them and, and hear their stories. But also you can share one of these points that we're going to talk about today that literally is the features and benefits of wisdom. But we get to the point where it's our choice whether we utilize it or not. It was my choice to utilize my wife's advice, which was just, you know what, they're just people. And that simplicity was so, so profound. So in Proverbs 27, it talks about, stay here and be 100% in the moment with the people in front of you. And this is what my wife was talking about. This is what my pops had raised me on my whole entire life. One business only. It's the people business. Take the people out of the business. You got no business at all. Okay. So that's the foundation of it. Now, if we want to build the business, you just build the people and then allow the people to build the business. Okay, cool. So now we're starting to get a few little blocks in place. Okay, well, how do we build people? Well, building people is by understanding their name, understanding a couple things about them specifically, and then shouting them out. And a lot of times it's the silent sacrifices that you connect with. I just had a young lady that I work with, and her daughter had gone through some things with a friend recently, and we worked together. And she was walking up the stairs, and I just said, "Hey, how are you doing?" And she stopped for a second and she said, "I'm so glad that you asked. Thank you so much for asking." And then she told me about the things that she was dealing with. And it broke down barriers. See, a lot of times we think we're communicating because we work with the person 8 hours a day, but we got to understand that that's a person. They got a name and they got specific things that are happening in their life. And most likely the work that you're doing is not their number one priority. It's probably priority number 100. But if you could get to know the person and understand who they are and what they're doing, and then you can shine light on that, and you can take and honor their silent sacrifices that they're making that they would never tell anybody else because they're just doing them because that's their duty, Once you start to do that, you light people on fire. Once you light people on fire, they feel seen, they feel heard, they feel loved. Now they start performing at a high level. And I tell you, every single person wants to do better. Even when I worked at KFC, I've still got my, up on my shelf. I wish that you guys would come to the studio and see this whole shelf behind me is my whole entire life. Every single part of it has a story. And I've got my KFC badge that I wore from my first job. And I tell you this, I wanted the opportunity for my boss not to be there because I wanted to be able to impress him. Now, with him over the top of me, I wasn't super excited. But most of the time, human beings, they want to impress you. They want to do their best. They want to bring out the best. You don't have to be over the top of them. You just have to lift them up, help them to feel seen, feel heard. And once that happens, they will light on fire. So that first point is stay here and be 100% in the moment with the people in front of you. Try this today. Ask the question, but wait for the response, but actually be interested in the response. It does magic. Work so hard that people talk about you. This way you don't have to let others, or that you don't have to let others market for you. So I'll say it again because I jumbled it up. Work so hard that people talk about you. This way you don't have to. Let other people market for you. When I was a kid, I've told the story before about it, but when I was a kid in the professional beauty industry, when I started off, I didn't like to pass out cards. And the reason why is because I just didn't like to do it. I didn't want to do it. It was one of those things, but I knew I had to build a business. So it wasn't that I was lazy. I didn't like one aspect of it, but I had to figure out a way to be able to build my business in the meanwhile. Well, there was a girl who came in. Her name is Susie Caldwell. She came into the salon, and I told her while she was waiting, because she was waiting for her friend, Beth, and I told her that I would do a complimentary stress relief treatment and blow dry her hair that day, complimentary, while she waited. I did that, and when I did it, I wanted to make sure that Susie felt amazing. Well, Susie did, and she left, and she took my cards, and then she went and told her friends. One of her friends was Michelle Tamagawa. Michelle Tamagawa told me that she was, one of the Palm Squad. They had won 9 times national champion, the national championship, and they were going for their 10th straight year. I said, wow, where do you practice? What time do you practice? What days do you practice? And then I found out, and I went to their practice a half an hour late, so I would interrupt the practice, walked in the back door as opposed to the front door, and when I walked in, I knew I'd interrupt practice. They said, well, can we help you? I said, absolutely. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and I just want to congratulate you on the 9-time national champions. And I know you're going for your 10th straight year, so on Wednesday, I'm going to be taking care of all of you in the salon, complimentary. Here's my card. Here's a shirt. I apologize about interrupting your practice. Have a wonderful day. And you know what happened? They all started talking. All the girls in the Palm Squad started talking, and they showed up on Thursday. I called the news station and had them come down and cover the story. And when they covered the story, guess what started to happen? Everybody else was talking about my business. They were all marketing for me, and I didn't have to be out there marketing. Work so hard that other people talk about you. And when they talk about you, you don't have to anymore. And then they'll do your marketing for you, and your marketing budget will shrink, and you'll be able to take the time and the energy and the money and invest it in another place. But make sure that you're always investing it in as many people as possible. Anger and fury and jealousy don't have a good ROI, so choose love. And watch this: anger, fury, and jealousy. And what happens, what causes those things? Sometimes it's people provoking you. So just be conscious of people provoking you and be grounded and settled in wisdom. Wisdom is the right use of knowledge. The only place where you could get wisdom is from spending time with God, or the fear of God, which is respecting him. So spend time with him. And what God is calling us to do is to simply spend time with him, and he'll fill us up with wisdom, and then that wisdom will tell us that anger, fury, and jealousy don't have a good ROI. If I listed that out in a financial, on a financial sheet, and I said, here's an investment, but it has a really bad ROI, you would be like, pass. If I said, here's an opportunity for you to invest your time, but it's got a really, really bad ROI, and in most cases, it's a negative ROI, you would be like, I'm good, pass. Although we choose anger, we choose fury, and we choose jealousy, not because we choose those specifically, but we allow people to provoke us in where we're at. So just choose love. And when you choose love, you neutralize all those things. And this is what wisdom will tell us. Wisdom also tells us that tell the truth in love. Give the truth in love. And that creates growth. Now, some people say, I'm just brutally honest. And they, especially with reality shows and judge shows and things like that, like American Idol or things like that. And Simon Cowell's been a good one. I'd love to have him on the podcast sometime. I think he's a very interesting guy. But I think a lot of times people have taken his style and just be like, oh, they want to go hard at somebody. And it's like, no, just tell the truth in love. Like, give them data and wrap it all in love. Love and data, love and data, love and data. Now, it doesn't mean that you tell somebody, oh, you're the best when they're not the best. No, but love on them and make sure that you do that. And that's what really, truly creates growth. Hunger and thirst for wisdom, which is the right use of knowledge, and that only comes from spending time with God. It tastes good and satisfies. Imagine there's a lot of food that tastes good but doesn't satisfy. There's ones that satisfy that don't taste good. But imagine something that tastes good and it satisfies. And that is something that wisdom will do. Hunger and thirst for it. And I tell you, when you do that, the ROI is so exponential, I guess you would say. Work your land. You have unfair advantages on your home field. And you look at this in sports, you look at this anywhere. When you work your land and you don't worry about anybody else's land, you work yours, you have unfair advantages. When people come into your home turf, you understand the environment and you can perform at a completely different level. And so whether it be in business and life and relationships, all those things, what I would suggest you do is just work your land. I told the Marine Corps the other day that they're standing on an acre of diamonds, but a lot of times they're thinking that something else is has the magic beans. But the acre of diamonds that they're standing on is the unfair advantages that they have by staying on their home turf. Think about it from a Marine Corps standpoint. Discipline, perseverance, honor, trustworthiness, all these things. I mean, you just read their creed. I read it the other day. I don't have it memorized, but I read it because my buddy Craig was in the Marine Corps and he sent it to me. And it's like, if you just use all these things, you won't have any challenges in business. You'll get any job you want. You'll build any company you want. You'll have a multitude of customers, and that will impact your family as you go along. So, speak life to everyone, which I talked about that. And it's just speaking life is using someone's name and then talking about something specifically that inspired you. When I think about Dylan and Amir and Mike and Gil and Jesus and Eric and Nick, all of them, like every single one of them, there was something about each and every one of them that was incredible. And I wanted to speak that to them. And I tell you, when you speak life to people, it lights people on fire. And when people are on fire, your business grows. If you want your business to grow, just build the people. And the way that you do that is by speaking life to them and understanding their silent sacrifices and honoring them. Be a good friend. That's a pretty simple one. And what I would do is I'd seek wisdom on how to be a good friend. But if you just go back to the last couple points, that'll help you to be a good friend. Wisdom creates superhero vision. I always wanted X-ray vision, and I wanted to be able to see at night and all these things. But wisdom creates that superhero vision because it slows things down so quickly, slows things down to a point. That sounds silly, slow it down quickly, but it slows it down where you can see the game at a completely different level. I talk about Steph Curry all the time because I watch him and he plays the game and he really enjoys the game, but the game slows down for him. And, I've seen my son do this because he's a master at what he does when he plays on the field. Stay out of debt personally, professionally, spiritually, and financially. This is a big one because when we're in debt, we have the tendency to act out of character. And so it's not just debt financially, but it does include that, but personally, professionally, spiritually, and financially. And by the way that you do that is just by working your land. Don't get involved in other people's situations. Just stick to your own. Timing, tone, and content. These are things that that's TTC, timing, tone, and content. You'll find when you're presenting to people, connecting with people, you're trying to make friends, you're trying to seal a deal with business. Any of those things, you're trying to repair a relationship, you're trying to, communicate inside your marriage. Timing, tone, and content. I tell you, but do them in those, think of it in that type of importance, your timing. You come to someone in the morning with something that has the right tone and the right content, doesn't work out. you have the right timing, but you don't have the right tone, and you have the right content, sometimes it's off. Make sure that all three of those, that's the holy grail of communication, is timing, tone, and content. And then as I wrote this one this morning, it was pretty wild because due diligence in dating pays off in droves. And diligence is just right work. So due diligence is DUE, but I'm just saying, like, just do the DO, due diligence, which is the right work. If you do the right work, and when it talks about in dating, whether it be in business or in relationships, when you're dating, you're not fully committed. And so do the diligence in that time, do the right work, start to look at it, run it through a filter and see if it's something that you actually want to commit to. And I find in business and in relationships, both of those can pay off in droves. Make good friends. And it's great because it says this later on, but making good friends, you have to be a good friend first. And to be a good friend, then you can make good friends. And when you put good friends around you, it's amazing what can happen. This verse was actually big because my buddy Craig Gottlieb reached out to me today, and he said, iron sharpens iron. He was hanging out with a bunch of kids, and they were cruising when he was a kid, and somebody was, filling up their gas tank and smoking a cigarette. And he just looked at it and he was like, what am I hanging out with? And then he chose to hang out with some of the smartest kids in school, found out what they were doing. And you know what? The trajectory of his life changed because of the people that were around him. So surround yourself with good people. But to do that, you got to be a good friend first. And honor and respect people. This is a big one. My pops always talked about it. Respect is a huge one. And he learned that from the military. It's an unfair advantage. Guard your heart. Your life flows from it. And this was words from my mom. I heard it all the time. It's just guard your heart, guard your heart, guard your heart, because your life flows from it. You see, whatever goes into your heart, when your heart's filled up, it flows out your mouth. Your mouth, once you talk about something enough times, your hands start to move towards it and your feet start to move towards it. So guard your heart at all costs. And how do you do that? By what you see, what you hear, and what you become aware of through your senses. So spend time with people who lift you up. I got a chance to be able to spend some time with Mr. Mike Bender this morning on my dog walk. The guy is absolutely tremendous, and also my friend Mark. And Mark was on the dog walk too, and he's just absolutely on fire for the Lord right now. And I just want to congratulate him. Live peacefully, full of love and contentment. Living peacefully is probably one of the It's a tough thing to do, but it's outside of circumstance. And so living peacefully and full of love and content as possible, as far as just looking at the things that you have as opposed to the things that you don't. Wisdom brings blessing, and that is when the tests come. And so just be conscious of this, because wisdom, when you choose it, which it's simple and you see the benefits of it, I'm listing them off. When you choose wisdom, which is just spend time with God, he gives you wisdom, right use of knowledge, and then it sends you into the wisdom cycle, which is wisdom, and then it brings knowledge. It'll bring understanding, insight, discretion, discernment, discipline, strength, and it'll lead you right back to the fear of God and spend time with him. But when that happens, blessings will come, and that's when the tests come, because you will be tested when we're blessed. And so just be conscious of this, because a lot of times we could get focused just on the blessing as opposed to the wisdom that actually brought the blessing. Stay focused on the wisdom, and that's just spending time with God, and he'll keep you humble, and then he'll keep blessing you inside of it, but you'll be able to bless others and focus on other people also. Oil and water don't mix. Foolishness and wisdom can't coexist, because wisdom is the absence of foolishness. And so, wisdom is the right use of knowledge. It comes from spending time with God. But if you spend time with God, you can't be foolish, because the foolishness is just the absence of wisdom. So they don't mix. You can't have the two of them together. And just, understand this. If you're foolish in an area, it's just because you're not spending time with the one who created you, and you're not hearing the truth. And the simplicity of that truth is that wisdom that he'll give you. Stay in communication with the people around you. This came from my pops. 99% of challenges in business and relationships are due to faulty communication. So when I go into companies, corporations and to conventions, and I go and speak, which it's going to be heavy in these next couple of months. Whenever I do, the number one thing is just communication, whether it be siloed communication, it be, the finance people aren't talking with the creative people, or the marketing people aren't talking with the, the boots on the ground. It's just communication. And the cool thing is that all companies are built up of people. And when you can impact the people, then you can grow the business. Even when we're talking AI, a company that has a small amount, a SaaS company, like one of my buddies, Nick, they have very few employees, and they have a SaaS company, but also they still have to communicate at a high level. And so when you communicate effectively, meaning there's a sender, a receiver, and results, and that you remember the tone, the timing, and the content. And when that happens and you communicate on a high level, things start to work. But I tell you, 99% of challenges that I've ever experienced, and this is what my pops told me from when I was a kid, 99% of those challenges in our businesses or in our relationships are due to faulty communication. It's not to do with the circumstances. It's just the way that they're communicated. And so we just, learning and connecting on that communication and making sure that we stay in communication, because it's not something that we set and forget. Wisdom is simple. Spend time with God. That's it. Just spend time with God. And it's been so cool because I've had so many people reach out and they've given me kind of their testimony of like, since I've started in on Proverbs. I mean, I talked about Stacey Edwards the other day, and she sent me this note, and it's a note about what she's been able to see. I just got a text message from Mark, my buddy Mark, and he was telling me about, he's just spending time with God and he's seeing so many amazing things happen. The reason why is because God's given him wisdom. That's the beginning of all wisdom, right? And so, wisdom is that simple. It's just like my wife, the simplicity of her, where I was making it complicated. I'm going to speak to all these leaders. She was like, no, they're just people. And then when I realized how simple that was, I focused on the people. And then, what we did? We had an incredible time. And then we're going to do it again. And the greatest compliment that you can ever get as a speaker is to be asked to come back. The benefits of wisdom are endless. And, those leaders in the Marine Corps were people. And their names were Dylan, Amir, Mike, Gil, Jesus, Eric, and Nick. They were people. They weren't, oh my gosh, it's leaders. No, they were people who happened to lead. Sharing with them became simple when I listened to my wife's words. They are all just people. Wisdom is the same way. And now it's your choice whether or not to use it today. And what I'd invite you to do is go back. First of all, go to Proverbs 27, just read through it, just pick out one verse. What hit your heart? What did it make you think about? And then what action can you add to it today? And I would look at these benefits of wisdom that it talks about, and I would just apply one of them today. And then apply it for a day, maybe two, and then write down the results of it. I guarantee you the results will be good. The ROI is always positive. It's always positive. The benefits are endless, and wisdom is so simple, but we just got to choose to use it. So I hope you have a phenomenal day. The Vibram is almost completely sold out, which is incredible. It is March 11th. It's a live version of the podcast, and we added live music. We added stand-up comedy, interviews. The lineup is nuts. I don't let you know who the people are. They're actually in the room, and you get to hang out with them all night. We got some of the best food from the Taco Brothers. We got Cardenas Legacy Tequila, I think the #1 tequila in the world. We've got Transcendence Wine, and we've got not only Transcendence Wine coming in, but we have the winemakers that actually craft the wine. And I got a chance to be able to go through. I was there at the facility, and it is amazing. They do it from their heart. The love that goes into this wine is absolutely tremendous. I watched their sparkling wine. If you get a chance to be able to have some from Transcendence, it's hand turned. He turns it a quarter turn every day when he comes in while he's developing the sparkling wine. It's such a cool experience, and it's from the Lompoc Valley, Central Coast. Whoop, whoop, represent. So I hope you have a phenomenal day. It's always an honor to be here with you, and I thank you guys so much for watching, listening. And if you could do me a favor, go on, whether it be Spotify, Apple, or YouTube, whichever platform, and then write a review. and share it with a friend. That's what I would love for you to do. So hopefully you have a phenomenal day. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Yeah, and this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launchpad flights. Yeah, this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launchpad flights. We begun surfing waves too low, made our own rules everywhere we go. Held tight to the truth that our parents declared. Anything is possible, the love stayed there. Now Rob's daughter ballin' on the end scene, Olay scene. Will's kids live dreams we never could have seen. This the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launchpad flights.